Hi, I'm Lemmy. This is Painting Buddy. Welcome to the channel. Painting Buddy hates it when I put her on camera, but she's cute as fuck. And she kind of loves it at the same time. So welcome back to the channel. As you may or may not have noticed, I haven't posted a community post for a little while asking for video titles. And I want to start off with that before I go into the whole video, because that's a whole thing now. The whole video. It was a lot of editing. I already edited a lot of it and it's a doozy. So back to the community posts. I haven't posted them in a while because I've been pre-recording a lot of episodes back to back now. Just for the reason that I have a lot of time to make the first battle report. Me and my brother-in-law, we've met up, we've played together. I have tried to record everything. I think I recorded pretty much everything, maybe a couple of things I didn't record, and then audio got lost and a lot of shit. But long story short, it is happening. I am writing the script for it as we speak. It's gonna be one of my very rare scripted videos. I'm very excited to get that video out as fast as possible, but it's taking a long time. So for that reason alone, it's gonna take a while. So expect it somewhere in the near future. Maybe the video after this one will be the battle report. It was it was a lot of fun to play. And it was an amazing experience. A lot of things were learned, a lot of rules were forgotten. So yeah, trying to hype that one up. Now back to the main video of today. Today I decided to make a little diorama. I got a lot of bases from the same brother-in-law as I battled in the upcoming battle report. And he gave me a lot of bases from 40k, Age of Sigmar. I don't really know, I don't really care about anything that is not MESBG. It's the only game I actually play and love to play. And yeah, I just made a diorama with the Witch King. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen it. Maybe before I drop this video, I'll post a community post showing the Witch King and some text saying it will all be clear in the future. So yeah, I made that base, that little diorama piece, and I realized that I should have recorded it. It was a lot of fun to make, and yeah, I think a lot of people would like to watch me build a little diorama piece on a big Warhammer base. So I decided to make another one. I had some dwarves laying around. I decided to use them instead of using them for the biggest dwarf army on earth, because this little diorama is gonna be the centerpiece. I have decided, after I made it, that it's gonna be depicting the dwarves storming out of a gate during the War of the Ring era. It's gonna be Erebor, so you're gonna see Grimhammer hammers. Gonna see some Iron Hills shields, and I'll explain later in the video how everything went together in the little diorama I made. So I'm extremely happy with how it turned out, and I hope that you guys will enjoy watching me build and paint this. It was a very long video to make. I had to edit about 6 hours of footage already. I've rambled long enough, I think. It's time to show you how I made it, how it's gonna look in the end, even though you probably have seen it a little bit in the thumbnail. And yeah, see you on the desk. Hello and welcome back to the desk. As you can see, I started with a lot of extra bits I had laying around, and instead of painting the models I still need to paint for the biggest dwarf army on YouTube, I decided to make this. And I started with gluing the gate on the base, and I'm gonna try and make it look as if the dwarves are storming out of the gate ready to fuck shit up. Yeah, and take some names, I don't know, I forgot how you say it. And to do that I needed to clip off the bottom pins of the doors. This is from the Balance Tomb set that I bought when I started playing the game in well, painting at least, in 2009. That's a little while ago now. I'm getting old. After I glued everything in place, I glued the dwarves together first, but I did not glue them in their bases, meaning that they're still loose in their base, but I have a lot of bases laying around, so I tried multiple bases per dwarf, multiple bases for each dwarf, to make sure they were stable enough in their base and snug enough so they wouldn't fall out while I was actually painting them. Then I went back to the big base with the gate already glued on top of it, and I used the texture paste to make the ground more interesting, give it a little bit more, well, a ground feel instead of just plastic. And of course this part I forgot to actually record, but off camera I glued on some rocks, some broken Grimhammer hammers I had from the conversions I made, and some blue stuff, Iron Hills shields. If you have seen my blue stuff video, like the full 5 people that actually watched that video, you can see how I use blue stuff there and how I conquered blue stuff. And because they were kind of miscasts, they were a little bit more broken and not perfect, I decided they would look great as some damaged shields laying in front of the gate. So it was actually quite perfect that they were not perfect. After I did that, I gave everything a quick black base coat, as, from the big base to the dwarves on their smaller bases. And then I could finally start painting, and I am excited. I was excited for this part. This was a lot of fun to do. And to start it off, I'm gonna paint the gate and the base itself, the rocks, the weapon pieces, and to make a good base for my base, I started with the rinox hide to give the ground texture a little, well, a different color than black. I thought it was gonna be a nice starting point. And I dry brushed that with mournfang brown to make it a little bit more lighter. I decided I wanted the ground to be a little bit more lighter than that even, so I then used XV88. Still not happy with how the ground looks. I gave it a very light dry brush of balor brown. And after that I was finally happy with how the ground looked. I decided to paint the rocks and also the gate, well, the stone parts of the gate, not the actual doors itself yet. And I painted that in mechanicus standard grey. And after that I just gave it a quick nuln oil wash, just to see what I already had. Then I got distracted and I decided to paint the hammers already, so I painted the hammers leadbelcher. Then I realized I needed to paint the stones a little bit more, so I gave the quick dry brush of dawnstone, except the gate, because it's very flat and a dry brush is not gonna look that great on it. I'm still not very happy with how the gate came out, but that's the only part of the whole thing that I don't really like yet. I can still come back to it and paint it again, that's not a big problem. Now I realized that I still needed to give the shields on the base a little coat, just to block the color in. And I used ironbreaker for that, just as my Iron Hills painting scheme says. After which I also realized I still have to paint the actual doors of the gate. And I use abbadon black for the wood parts of my Erebor army, but I decided that was gonna be too black. Way too dark, so I just took a random color I had, named gorthor brown, first pot I had in my hand, and I just used that for the gate. Then for the metal pieces around the doors I used ironbreaker. But inside the doors there are little diamond shapes, and I used liberator gold for that to give it a little bit more attention, make it look a little bit more fancy. This is supposed to be Erebor, and I think in my mind canon it is around the time of the War of the Ring when the Easterlings attacked Erebor. because it would make more sense to find Iron Hills shields. Nah, it's my headcanon. I decided it's War of the Rings, Erebor, under siege by Easterlings. If I didn't sell all the Easterlings I had, I would actually glue some Easterlings on top of this, but yeah, you can't glue them if you don't have them. So yeah, Liberator gold for the diamond pieces. Then I gave it a nuln oil wash together with the shields that we already painted. The hammers also got a nuln oil wash. Pretty much everything got a nuln oil wash at this point. I should have done this a little bit more in an order that I didn't have to go back to so many paints again, but I just winged this, so yeah, you're along for this journey. Then I used Blood Angel's Red on the shields of the Iron Hills Dwarves shields. That's a weird sentence. And if you have already seen my Iron Hills Dwarves paint tutorial thingy, you know why. Once that's done, I was happy with how everything looked at this point. I was really getting excited to get the dwarves in the diorama piece. So I went to my dwarves and realized I still needed to paint them. So I just began painting them with leadbelcher on the armor parts and the weapon parts, because the hammers also need a leadbelcher coat. And if you have already seen my how to paint the richest dwarves in Middle Earth video, I think it is, you know how this is gonna go. It's the exact same paint job, because, well, it ties in, and it's gonna be a little centerpiece of the, well, biggest dwarf army on YouTube that I'm trying to make. Now next up is dryad bark for every piece of cloth you can see, pretty much. Except the gloves. Those are done in doombull brown. Also their belts I did. Mainly because I didn't paint the belts completely in leadbelcher, else I would have let them be leadbelcher. But I didn't want to open leadbelcher again. I've said leadbelcher a lot of times now. So they got the doombull brown coat as well. And if their boots are visible, they also get doombull brown on top of that. And 2 of the 4 models have some fur-like thing around their pants. I think is the best way to describe it. And I painted that stormvermin fur, like it's some, yeah, random fur. The hint is in the name. The 2 dwarves, without their helmets, got cadian fleshtone instead of leadbelcher, because they are not terminators, but they're dwarves, they might as well be terminators. Then I painted abbadon black for the hair of at least one of them, I can't really remember. Corvus black for the hilts of the little axes, two of them at least have on their model. X388 and mournfang brown were used for hair colors as well. Can't give them all the same hair color, these are not Lothlorien elves that you just paint blonde and say yeah, this is fine. And I realized they had a little bit of raised cloth in the middle of their tunics, two guys. I painted that gorthor brown again, just to make their uniform look a little bit more interesting. I also tried to paint the insides of their mouths in World Bear's red. Personally didn't think that came out great, but I did it, so I need to say that I did to make this video actually, well, I don't know what this video actually is. After I've done that, nuln oil on everything metallic and everything that just isn't flesh colored or brown. For the brown colors I use agrax earthsade. For the flesh colors I use reikland fleshshade. This is very basic. And once that was finally done, I could finally glue the dwarves on top of the scenery base that I made. And damn, that was satisfying to do. It really made, well, the 6 or so hours I spent on this worth it. I think it started to look amazing from the second I glued the first dwarf on. By the time the fourth dwarf was glued on top of it, I was very ecstatic. Didn't think it would come out this well, especially since I had to record everything, and when I paint, usually the paint job doesn't look as good as when I don't record it, because there are multiple cameras in the way of between me and the model itself. But this time I'm really happy with how it came out, and I absolutely love it. I hope it may inspire some of you people who have some spare models laying around, some spare bits and a couple of bases that you may or may not have gotten for free by a 40k player, you know, or an Age of Sigmar, I don't really know. I think my brother-in-law gave them to me because of something 40k related, and he said he wasn't gonna use them. I said, thank you, kind sir, and well, if you're watching this is what's happening with the bases you gave me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, well, leave a like, subscribe, do whatever you want. I cannot force you to do anything. I'm truly happy you watched until the end, it means a lot to me, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye! I'm a man. Am I having a stroke? No cringy transition this time. Or will there? Cringy enough as it is. Sweaty, why the fuck is it so hot here?